everyone, welcome back to the channel. Aaron here at Kite Paddle Surf, and today we're going to do a breakdown of all of the beaches and different launches that we go out and do our kiteboarding and wing foiling at here in Whatcom County. So we're going to start this trip all the way to the north up at Birch Bay State Park, work our way down into Bellingham and then through the south end of Bellingham. Each location I'm going to talk about what's best suited for it, time of year, the amenities and everything that comes with it at these locations. So let's get started. So today we are out here in a beautiful day at Birch Bay. This is an incredible spot to go kiteboarding and both wing foiling. They have amenities here, so you can park. It has a restroom and it has also a really nice grassy field launch area for kiteboarding across from the road, which makes it easy to launch and land your kites. Now, this spot, let's talk about the wind direction first. Birch Bay State Park is one of the more challenging places because the wind is not as consistent here as far as the direction and season. Typically the season for kiting and winging here would be fall, winter, and spring, because we get these westerly and northwesterly winds that come through some of these storm fronts. And it's a very clean wind that comes through all of the islands, and we don't get blocked by the islands like we do in Bellingham. However, it can really come and go fast. It could start 9, 10 in the morning, and then by 3, 4 in the afternoon, it could just totally fizzle out the wind. So sometimes the window is really short for the wind, so it's a little bit of a tricky spot to predict when it's going to happen. As far as the skill level goes here, it is going to be a little bit more towards that intermediate to advanced. Now I know today it's really calm, it's a low tide, it looks pretty tame, but typically during those seasons we have higher tides, and because there's no block of any of the islands, we have a really long fetch of water, so when the wind starts blowing, it can roll in some pretty big waves, and just right out here we can get some pretty nice, waist high, chest high waves that can come in here, and it can break right on the beach. So it can be challenging to get in and out of the water. The waves can even get so good that you can almost just about surf this place sometimes. So that's something to think about. Not the best beginner place to come. As far as the accessibility into the water, like I said, there's parking, winging, you can get right out there. It's a great place for winging because of the waves. So if you're an intermediate and up winger, you can definitely take advantage of those waves by getting upwind, catching some of that swell, and just ripping some awesome turns out here. So we love coming out here. It's a great location. It's a little bit more remote. It's up farther north, so it takes a little bit of a drive to get out here from Bellingham, but we're definitely stoked when we do get out here. It's a popular kite spot as well for kite surfing, riding waves. You can do it with a twin tip, but most people that come out here are on their surfboards. Today in summertime, we have a little bit of a northwest breeze. It's probably only blowing like 5 or 6 miles an hour, so not quite enough today, but you could kite foil here when it gets up, that 10 knots. You can definitely come out here in the summertime and get some kite foiling in for sure. So keep it on your radar. In the description down below, I'll put a link to a camera that is updated. I want to say, let's just say every hour they do an updated photo of what the conditions look like out here, so you can check that and see what it looks like before you make the drive out here to Birch Bay. You do have to pay to park unless you have the Discovery Pass, then it's free if you have Washington State Discovery Pass. So here it is, beautiful Birch Bay State Park, great spot, definitely one of our favorites, but one of the more tricky spots to hit. But if you hit it, it's epic and you'll be stoked you did. Okay, so we're glad you guys checked the spot out. We are gonna make our way towards Bellingham to the next location, which is Locust Beach. All right, let's go. After leaving Birch Bay, we've made our way down to Bellingham Bay, and I just wanted to give you this high vantage point to show you the bay and how it looks. Right now we're facing the south. Majority of all of our wind is going to come either from the southwest, south, or southeast. So as we look down, there's going to be a few different locations that we're going to go to from this point. The first one we're going to go look at is Locust Beach, the very famous kiteboarding spot that we've had here in Bellingham. So we're going to go down there and go take a look. Pulling into the parking lot here at Locust Beach, you can see it's a really nice parking lot, plenty of parking spaces here. There are no amenities here, no bathrooms or anything like that, so you kind of have to be prepared when you come here you're not going to have any of those. So from here, we're going to take a walk down the trail over here, make our way down the beach. So as we're walking down the beach, it's a beautiful walk down here. One of the parts you're going to notice is that the stairs are pretty steep, so carrying gear down here can be a little tricky, so just take your time as you're going down these steps so you don't trip and fall. Down here at Locust Beach, right here in the beginning of the first part of the beach, it's going to be partly rocky coastline, and then just a little ways out is kind of the flats out there, sand, runoff mud from the river. The Nooksack River is actually way across there, which is pretty far away from us now. So as far as launching here, typically we like to have someone launch our kites on the rocks here just to make it safe. Now at low tides, you can obviously walk out to the edge of the bay and put your kite down and then do a self launch if you know that technique out there, so it gives you plenty of space. This is also where we teach our kiteboarding lessons. It's going to be out here at Locust. So because of how safe it is, it's all protected in this bay. It's all sand and mud out there, and it's a very gradual depth, so it can be shallow in your knees all the way up to your thighs for miles and miles and miles. So it makes it very safe and approachable for beginners. Now this evening, probably the tide will be up all the way to the rocks here, and then this will be quite a bit deeper out here. As far as the wind directions, like I said earlier, it's all going to be southerly winds here, which we can get year round. So it can be any time of year we can be kiting or winging down here at Locust. As you can see from the walk, kiting gear is very easy to bring down here. Wing gear is definitely a lot more challenging with the hydrofoil and the board, getting down that steep part. It's doable, but definitely challenging. So overall, this has always been a classic wind spot that we've always come to here in Bellingham, just because of how accessible it is and how much room we have out there to go out and wing or kiteboard. And sometimes with us being on this side of the bay, it can be more of a southeast wind, so the wind line could be out there a little ways, so you may have to walk further out if on low tide, or you may have to kite or wing over to the wind line to get a little bit better, cleaner wind farther over on the other side of the bay. But overall, it's always been a great spot. It's beautiful here, and this is the first spot we're going to be looking at. The next one that we're going to be looking at is just down a ways closer into town. So let's go take a look. Here we are, Squalicum Beach. Parking lot is small but nice and close to the beach, so getting your gear from your car down to the beach is really nice. One of the drawbacks to Locust is getting your gear down the beach. Locust is up there to the north, so we've gone down the beach a little ways. Now once again, we're here at low tide, so obviously if you want to get out to the water line, you're going to have to walk out a little ways. It's shallow here just like Locust, but it drops off. The shelf is a little bit closer to us, so you can get to deeper water quicker than over at Locust. It's a farther walk out to deeper water. And as far as the launching goes here, typically people could launch here with their wing foil gear. Not recommended to do it with the kite foil or with the kiteboarding gear, but winging you can totally launch here. Another launching spot here is going to be out there at the point, and that is a grassy area with a step down area that gets you into the water. When the water comes in a little bit more later today, that's also going to get you into the deeper water a lot faster, and there is a walkway that goes down in the water. We're going to go over there and take a look. So we're out here at the end at Squalicum Beach, and this is kind of the area that we walk down through this little makeshift pathway into the water, and it just gives us a little bit better access instead of going closer in by the cars, just a little bit deeper here, which is just going to make it easier with the wing foiling and kiting as well over by the fields where you can rig up your kite lines and then walk right over here. So it's not too far, and it just makes the access a little bit better, a little bit safer too, away from that hillside with homes and cars. Now, as far as getting into the water here, as you can see, it's pretty rocky through here. There's lots of you know, cut up concrete, barnacles. So obviously please wear your booties in this location and be careful as you're walking through this pathway with the wind, whether you have your wing, your board, kite, whatever it is. People can really get hurt here, so you have to be extra careful. We would recommend this place more towards that intermediate rider. If you were coming here as a beginner, maybe come with someone else that can help you get the gear down into the water, or maybe launch over closer to the cars. If you have wing foil gear, the access into the water is going to be a little bit easier, just farther away from the wind range, the wind window. The wind direction here typically is going to be mostly out of the south. We can get this spot on a southwest wind as well. It can work really good that direction. That direction out of the southwest is typically going to be more in the summertime. We don't get those in the winter. Wintertime is going to be more southeast. This spot here is a little bit more protected in the southeast, so it's going to be in that shadow. It's not going to have the greatest of wind. You may have to get further out to the wind line to get that better wind, but in general, south-southwest wind is typical here. You will see a lot of wing foilers and kiters here. The waves can get really nice in here. They can build up because of that fetch of coming up the bay and then wrapping around the corner here. There can be some really fun waves to ride with your wing foil board and kiting as well. Kite foiling here is a great spot. It's pretty much almost windy here every single day. A day like today, it's only blowing maybe around 5 miles per hour, but hopefully this afternoon we can get it up to around 10 miles per hour, which would make it totally doable for kite foiling. So there's definitely a lot of different options here at this spot here in Squalicum. The parking lot is small, so there's not a lot of parking, and once the parking lot's full, there's pretty much no other option to park out here. There is also no amenities out here as well, so there's no bathrooms or running water, so you kind of have to come prepared when you come out here to Squalicum Beach. This is the closest spot to our shop. We are only less than probably a mile to the store from this location, so it's really close. So if you want to come to the store, we can kind of point you in the direction of where this is, or if you're down here checking it out, you can always just pop by the store, talk to us. We can try to give you some more insight on the location here. But year-round, great spot. We really like coming here to Squalicum Beach. So we are going to move on to the next beach, working our way into town. Make sure when you guys come into Bellingham to go kiteboarding, winging, whatever it is on the water, make sure you guys come by Kite Paddle Surf. Check out our amazing store. Okay, so we made it down here to the next location in Bellingham, and this is going to be Marine Park, kind of the south end of Bellingham, near Fairhaven. Small parking lot, but there is typically enough parking for everyone to come out here. There are facilities here to use the bathroom, and there's also water so you can rinse off all of your gear afterwards, which is pretty sweet. So as you can see here, we got plenty of grassy area here to get ready to go out onto the water. Now this is not a kiteboarding spot. Now on a low tide like this, if we did have some northwest wind in here, it could work with a kite, but typically when we come out here, we're going to be on south and southeast wind directions. So the wind line is going to be going all the way down to the bay, which is going to kind of where that overlook was. That's the direction the wind's going. So here we're kind of on the side of it, so we would have to paddle out or get out to the wind line typically. But this is a great spot as far as skill level. Beginner would be challenging here to be on a wing foil because you're inevitably going to end up downwind from here, and you're going to have to come in through like the harbor around there. So typically intermediate wing foiling is suggested at this place. This is a really low tide. Typically the water is going to be in a little bit closer, so it does drop off right away, so there's not going to be that far of a walk to get into deeper water. Like I said, southeast wind, and the swell can get really good out here as far as the waves. Out towards the buoy, there can be some really nice rollers. So for wing foiling, it's amazing. This is also a very popular spot for surf skiers. They come out here and paddle as well. Just a great overall park to come to. We really enjoy coming out to this place here in Bellingham. So anyways, there is kind of the run through of some of the locations that we go out and kiteboard and wing at. We hope hopefully you found this helpful, and just kind of shed some more light on some of the areas that we go out and do kiteboarding and winging. So if you have any questions, feel free to stop by the shop if you come into town and you're going to be kiteboarding or winging. We can kind of help you out with some of these locations, and then also check in the description down below. I'll put links to like the webcam like I talked about in Birch Bay, and then a webcam for this beach as well, so you can kind of get updated you know, at time of what it looks like here in the water. So when you come up here, plan a trip, you kind of know what to look for when you come and enjoy the Pacific Northwest here with us. So thanks for watching. Hopefully you found this helpful, and we look forward to seeing you guys on the next video. See ya.